European Union warns Israel against any attack on Rafah. Malaysia and Germany express commitment to strengthening collaboration. Good afternoon and Salam Malaysia Madani. I'm SAHIH and you're watching World Today. Lawmakers from Israel Religious Nationalist Coalition on Monday failed to gain enough votes in Parliament to expel a far-left colleague over his support for an International Court of Justice ICJ case accusing the country of genocide in Gaza. A total of 85 of the 120 members of the Net set back the motion to oust Walter Mazzei in a plenum session, 5 votes short of the 90-seat supermajority required. Kasih, whose Communist Hadash party sits in the opposition as part of a joint list with the left-wing Arab Ta'al party, signed an open letter backing allegations that Israel's campaign to destroy Hamas in Gaza amounted to genocide. Kasih said the real aim of the vote was political persecution and silencing of every critical voice in general and of Arab citizens and their representatives in the Knesset in particular. His motivation in signing the petition was liberal skepticism. Almost 30,000 people have been killed in Israel's invasion of Gaza. Casualty figures from the Palestinian health authorities do not distinguish between combatants and non-combatants, and Israel says it makes every effort to reduce civilian casualties. However, the scale of the killing has drawn huge criticism worldwide and prompted even Israel's closest allies to urge restraint. The European Union on Monday warned Israel against launching an offensive in Rafah that ministers said would create a disaster for the roughly 1.5 million refugees crammed into the city on the southern edge of Gaza. The bloc's top diplomat Joseph Borrell said after a meeting of EU foreign ministers that 26 of the EU's 27 countries agreed to a statement warning against any attack on Rafah. It also called for an immediate humanitarian pause that would lead to a sustainable ceasefire, to the unconditional release of hostages, and to the provision of humanitarian assistance. Israel is preparing to mount a ground invasion of the enclave's southernmost city, which it has called a last bastion of Hamas control after nearly 5 months of fighting. Israel expects to continue full-scale military operations in Gaza for another 6 to 8 weeks as it prepares the Rafah incursion, 4 officials familiar with the strategy said. There is a little chance that Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu's government will heed international criticism to call off a Rafah ground assault, say Avi Mlaim, a former Israel intelligence official and a negotiator in the first and second Palestinian intifadas or uprisings in the 1980s and 2000. In the past 24 hours, 107 Palestinians were killed and 145 injured. Brazil's foreign ministry summoned Israel's ambassador for a meeting in Rio de Janeiro on Monday amid a diplomatic rift between the countries sparked by President Luiz Inácio Lula da Silva comments comparing Israel's war on Gaza to Hitler's treatment of Jews. Lula described the situation in the Gaza Strip as not a war of soldiers against soldiers, but instead a war between a highly prepared army against women and children. Israel's ambassador Daniel Zohar Zonshine was seen leaving Itamaraty Palace in Brasilia, which was the former headquarters of the country's foreign ministry. Earlier on Monday, Israel Foreign Minister Israel Katz announced that Lula is not welcome in the Middle Eastern country until he takes back his comments. Israel's foreign minister told Brazil's ambassador, Frederico Meyer, that he declared Lula as a persona non grata in Israel as long as he does not apologize and take it back. However, sources with knowledge of internal discussions later said Brazil does not intend to retract Lula's remark. Lula's orders are that there will be no retraction and any answers will be given through diplomatic channels. Yemens Huthi targeted the Rubima cargo ship in the Gulf of Aden and the vessel is now at risk of sinking. The group's military spokesperson Yahya Sarriah said in a statement on Monday that the ship is British and the crew are safe, adding the Houthis had also shot down a United States drone in Hodeidah. Houthis released a video on Monday showing what they said was the downing of a US MQ-9 drone near the red seaport city of Hodeidah. The group said they had attacked the Rubima cargo vessel, putting it at risk of sinking and raising the stakes in their campaign to disrupt global shipping in solidarity with Palestinians in the Gaza war. A Belize flag, United Kingdom registered and Lebanese operated open hatch general cargo ship came under attack in the Bab al-Mandab Strait of Yemen on Sunday, according to British maritime security firm Embry. Saria said the attacks had been carried out using naval missiles. The UK Maritime Trade Operations Agency reported the crew had abandoned a ship off Yemen after an explosion. Malaysia and Germany are committed to strengthening defence ties, cooperation and diplomacy. The cooperation includes joint training exposure for training for Malaysian Armed Forces personnel and the development of the local defence industry. The Defence Ministry in a statement said that the commitment was expressed during Defence Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid Nordin's bilateral meeting with his German counterpart Boris Pistorius during his official visit to Germany from 15 to 18 February. The official visit to Germany is considered vital in ensuring the defence cooperation between Malaysia and its partners continues to be strengthened. The matter is in line with the National Defence Strategy's third pillar, credible partnerships as contained in the Defence White Paper. Datuk Seri Muhammad Khalid and his delegation also had the opportunity to join the Munich Security Conference MSC held from 16 to 18 February. The MSC is the highest security conference organised by Germany since 1963 and involved the participation of defence ministers, armed forces chiefs and government leaders from Europe and the entire world. Germany's Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock said on Monday the country will propose new sanctions against Moscow over the death of jailed Russian activist Alexei Navalny ahead of an EU foreign ministers meeting. The ministers were already due to discuss the bloc's 13th package of sanctions against Russia since Moscow invaded Ukraine on 24th February the year 2022. Hungary is the only EU state yet to approve the proposed restrictions against nearly 200 firms and people. Baerbock said she hoped the 27-nation bloc would agree on new sanctions against Russia soon. Following the death of Navalny, the German government also summoned the Russian ambassador earlier on Monday. Navalny, 47, fell unconscious and died on Friday after a walk at the Polar Wolf Panel colony in the Arctic where he was serving a 3-decade sentence. There are still few details of why he died. Navalny's mother was told on that he had perished from sudden death syndrome, a vague term for different heart conditions that end in death. Navalny's spokeswoman Kira Ryamsh said his 69-year-old mother and lawyers were informed that the official verification of the cause of death had been extended and that it was unclear how long it would take. Canada's Defence Minister Bill Blair on Monday said the country will donate more than 800 Sky Ranger R-70 multi-mission unmanned aerial systems to Ukraine to help in its war with Russia. The drones sourced from Teledin in Waterloo, Ontario, have been valued at over 95 million Canadian dollars.
Among my NATO partners, our discussions are that no one knows how to fight the Russians better than the Ukrainians because they've been doing it for 2 years. They have been ingenious. The ingenuity of Ukrainian fighters and their industries utilizing unmanned aerial vehicles, drones, in taking that fight to Ukraine and defending their sovereign territory has been nothing short of extraordinary. And so working very closely to them, I'm very pleased today to be standing next to this device and to advise you that Canada is investing over $95 million to provide Ukraine with more than 800 Sky Ranger R-70 drones.
The ministry added that the donation was funded by the 500 million Canadian dollar military assistance announced by Prime Minister Justin Trudeau during a visit to Kiev last year. Since February 2022, Canada had committed over 9.7 billion Canadian dollars in aid to Ukraine, including over 2.4 billion in military assistance. Japan hosted Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal on Monday in Tokyo to discuss the reconstruction of Ukraine pledging a new bilateral tax treaty and other support from Japanese businesses as the war in Ukraine approaches its second anniversary. Speaking after a meeting at the Japanese Prime Minister's official residence, Japan's leader Fumio Kishida told reporters at a news conference that his country would continue to work with Ukraine until peace returns.
本日の会議に際し、新しい租税条約など、官民合わせて50本を超える協力文書への署名が実現するなど、目覚ましい成果を得て、第一次産業から第三次産業まで官民挙げてウクライナを支援するという力強いメッセージを発することができました。
The two leaders had earlier attended a conference on Ukraine's reconstruction with Japanese business representatives. About 50 Japanese companies signed deals with Ukrainian counterpart at the conference in areas including agriculture, energy and the infrastructure. The total value of the deal was not disclosed. Coming up next, EU Executive von der Leyen aims for second term in post. European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen is expected to secure the backing of a German centre-right party on Monday for a second term, putting her in a strong position to clinch another 5 years running the European Union's executive body. At a meeting of the party leadership, Germany's opposition, Christian Democrats are set to announce that she will be their candidate for Commission President, confirming a widespread assumption that von der Leyen would seek another term. The 65-year-old former German defense minister is then likely to become the candidate of the pan-European centre-right umbrella group, the European People's Party, at a congress in Bucharest in March. The first woman to hold the job, von der Leyen steered the EU through the COVID-19 pandemic, the formal exit of Britain from the bloc, and the ructions following Russia's full-scale invasion of Ukraine in the year 2022. She will begin a second term at a time when Europe is focusing on how to strengthen its security, with Russia waging a war on its borders and the possibility of former US President Donald Trump returning to the White House. The leaders of the EU's 27 member countries will choose the Commission President after elections to the European Parliament in June. The United Nations Human Rights Office said on Monday that Britain's revived plan to send asylum seekers to Rwanda would drastically strip back courts' ability to scrutinize decisions and risks undercut basic human rights principles. Under the theoretical Rwanda plan, asylum seekers who arrive on England's southern coast in small, inflatable boats would be sent to Rwanda to live. Elizabeth Russell, spokesperson for the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, called on the UK government to take all necessary steps to ensure full compliance with UK's international legal obligations. Prime Minister Rishi Sunak won the first vote in the upper house of Parliament, despite misgiving from some lawmakers who attack it as unethical and unworkable. With his Conservative Party trailing in the opinion polls before an election expected later this year, Sunak has invested large amount of political capital in the Rwanda policy in the hope it will allow him to meet a promise to stop the boats. More than 1,000 asylum seekers have arrived in Britain on small boats so far this year. Guinea's ruling junta on Monday decreed the dissolution of the government, which has been in office since July 2022. General Amara Kamara, a junta spokesman, gave no reason for the dissolution nor a date for announcing a new government. Kamara said current affairs will be managed by the cabinet directors, secretary-generals and deputy secretary-generals until a new government is put in place. Guinea has been led since September 2021 by a military junta that deposed the country's first democratically elected president. Under international pressure, junta leader Colonel Mamadi Doumbouya has promised to hand the reins of the government back to elected civilians by the end of 2024. The military had said the so-called transitional period would allow it to carry out far-reaching reforms in Guinea, which remains poor despite considerable natural resources. But the opposition had accused it of authoritarian drift. It banned all demonstrations in 2022 and has arrested a number of opposition leaders, civil society members and the press. Internet access has been restricted for several weeks. Cambodian Prime Minister Han Manet on Monday warned influencers against producing fake content in his country after a pair of Taiwanese vloggers were arrested and sentenced to 2 years in prison for faking a kidnapping. Han Manet made the comments at the groundbreaking ceremony of a Chinese-funded bridge across the Tonle-Basak River, where Chinese ambassador to Cambodia Wang Wentian was in attendance.
ហើយសូមពមៀនដល់អ្នកផ្សេងទៀតដែលយកប្រទេសកម្ពុជាធ្វើជាកន្លែងអាជីវកម្មដើម្បីបាន view បានអីរូបភាពបែបនេះណាគឺនឹងអនុវត្តច្បាប់ឲ្យមើងម៉ាត់អនុវត្តជាប់គុក 2 ឆ្នាំហើយចេញទៅបដិញចេញពីប្រទេសឲ្យ blacklist ឈប់ឲ្យចូលស្រុកខ្មែរមួយជីវិត
A Cambodian court sentenced two Taiwanese men, Chen Ning Chuan, 31, and Lu Su Sen, 34, to 2 years in jail and fined them 4 million riel, equivalent to $982 in each connection with producing fake videos on alleged human trafficking, unlawful confinement, rape, and human organ trafficking in Cambodia. Both of them were arrested on 14 February after their video in which they pretended to be kidnapped in Cambodia went viral on the social media TikTok and gathered millions of views. A Haitian judge in charge of the investigation into the 2021 assassination of the Caribbean nation's last president has charged some 50 people, including his widow and a former prime minister. According to the 122-page document from Judge Walter Mazzei made public by Aibo Post, the president's widow Martine Moise conspired with former Prime Minister Claude Joseph to kill the president to replace him herself. Moise was shot dead when armed men broke into his Port-au-Prince bedroom on the night of 7th July 2021, a raid that left the former First Lady injured. The judge ordered calls for the arrest and trial of those charged. The former First Lady did not immediately respond to requests for comment, nor did Joseph. Moise had criticized on social media what she calls unjust arrests and political persecutions. Joseph, meanwhile, told the Miami Herald that the president's de facto successor, Prime Minister Ariel Henry, was the main beneficiary and was now weaponizing the Haitian justice system to persecute opponents in a classic coup d'etat. Still to come in sports, Lionel Messi addresses Hong Kong no-show on Chinese social media. National exponent Shah Malani is back on the podium, having bagged a gold medal at the World Karate Federation Karate 1 Series A in Larnaca, Cyprus. The 25-year-old claimed the women's under 50 kilograms title after beating Spaniard Eva Rodriguez 9-5 in the finals held at the Kitian Athletics Center. Earlier, Shah Malani, the two-time SEA Games champion, ousted Barbara Michelle Morales of Guatemala 3-2 to advance to the finals, while Eva edged Sin Yu Chan of Taiwan 1-0. Reacting to the victory on Instagram, Shah Malani said that it served as a redemption after missing the podium at the Hangzhou Asian Games with a second-round exit in October last year. She said the anticipation for this moment was immense and it's a testament to the perseverance of a 9-month wait after the podium finish at SEA Games 2023. Lionel Messi took to one of China's largest social media platforms on Monday to address speculation over his non-appearance in a recent Inter-Miami friendly in Hong Kong. Chinese state media, Hong Kong politicians and fans reacted angrily when the 36-year-old Argentine forward came off the bench 3 days later in a friendly match in Tokyo. Since then, Hangzhou and Beijing have said they will not host Argentina games scheduled for March as the fallout rumbles on, and now Messi has spoken in an attempt to defuse the situation.
Sabes, siempre quiero jugar y quiero estar en todos los partidos. Escuché que no había querido jugar por temas políticos y muchas otras cosas que no tienen nada que ver. Si hubiese sido así, directamente no hubiese viajado ni a Japón ni hubiese ido tantas veces como fui a... es tan simple como lo dije en la conferencia de prensa que hice. Tenía una inflamación en el aductor y no podía participar. En el primer partido que jugué en Arabia lo sentí, en el segundo intenté jugar un rato y fue a peor, molestia y tenía riesgo de ir a peor. Pasaron unos días, me sentí un poco mejor y por eso jugué un rato en Japón para seguir preparándome físicamente por todo lo que se me viene ahora, porque necesitaba jugar y agarrar ritmo nuevamente.
Widely considered the best player of his generation, Messi is a highly marketable sportsman who people around the world will pay top dollar to see, even in the twilight of his trophy-laden career. Some nationalist politicians and outlets interpreted Messi's absence and his subsequent appearance at a similar match in Japan as a snub to China without offering evidence. Crystal Palace on Monday named Australian Oliver Glassner as their new manager to replace Roy Hodgson. The 49-year-old has signed a deal to become the Eagles' boss until the end of the 2025 to 2026 season. Palace appointed the former Wolfsburg and Eintracht Frankfurt manager after Hodgson stepped down with the club 16 in the league standings, 5 points above the relegation zone after 6 wins from 24 games. Glassner managed Eintracht Frankfurt for 2 seasons, leading the Bundesliga club to Europa League success in 2022 and guiding them to the German Cup final in 2023. Palace are at Everton later on Monday with Hodgson's assistant coaches Paddy McCarthy and Ray Lewington taking charge. Glassner's first game will be at home to Burnley on Saturday. Napoli have appointed Francesco Calzona as caretaker coach until the end of the season, following the sacking of Walter Mazzei. The Serie A club confirmed on Monday. Mazzei became the second managerial casualty at the club, following Rudi Garcia's sacking in November, in a season which has seen their Serie A title defence fall apart since Luciano Spalletti left the club after last season's Scudetto win. Calzona previously served as assistant manager at Napoli under Maurizio Sarri and Luciano Spalletti, but left the club in 2022 to take over as manager of Slovakia, who he led to Euro 2024 qualification. The Slovak Football Association (SFZ) has given permission for Calzona's temporary return to Napoli, and the national side have 2 friendly matches in March against Austria and Norway before the tournament in Germany, which begins in June. Saturday's 1-1 draw at home to Genoa leaves Napoli 9th in the standings, and since Mazzei took over from Garcia last November, things have gone from bad to worse in his second spell at the club, having previously managed there between 2009 to 2013. Garcia was sacked after 12 league games, having won 6 and with the side 4th in the standings, 10 points adrift of leaders Inter Milan. Mazzei also lasted 12 league games but only managed 4 wins, leaving Napoli 27 points off top spot. Calzona's first game comes on Wednesday when Napoli hosts Barcelona in the first leg of the Champions League last 16. In tennis, top-seeded defending champion Taylor Fritz stretched his winning streak in ATP finals to 6 matches on Monday, defeating Tommy Paul 6-2, 6-3 to capture the Delray Beach Open. World number 9, Fritz claimed his 7th career ATP title in the All-American final, postponed from Sunday by rain. Fritz became only the second player to take back-to-back Delray crowns after Australian Jason Stoltenberg, the 1996 and 1997 winner. After taking his first ATP title at Eastbourne in 2019, Fritz lost his next 4 finals, but since St. Petersburg in 2021, has won championship matches at Indian Wells, Eastbourne and Tokyo in 2022, plus Delray Beach and Atlanta last year. Fritz broke for a 3-1 lead in the opening set after Paul smashed a forehand long, then saved 3 break points in the 7th game to hold serve for a 5-2 edge and broke again to take the first set in 39 minutes and on errant Paul forehand. In the second set, Fritz denied Paul on 2 break points in the 5th game and 2 more in a dramatic 15-minute 7th game. Fritz broke with the forehand down, the line winner in the 8th game for a 5-3 lead and then held serve at love with new balls to claim the crown when Paul netted a forehand after an hour and 40 minutes. Paul, ranked 14, saw the end of 7-match win streak that matched his career best. Paul won his second career ATP crown last week at Dallas. Fritz improved to 3-2 in his career rivalry with pal Paul, who had won their prior meeting in last year's Acapulco semi-finals. In Moto GP, reigning 2-time champion Francesco Bagnaia finished day 1 of testing as the quickest on Monday at the Lusail International Circuit in Qatar, which hosts the opening race of the 2024 season next month. The Ducati Lenovo team rider clocked a 1-minute 52.040 lap with 2023 championship rival Jorge Martin of Pramac Racing just 0.220 seconds adrift in second, while Aprilia's Alex Espargaro finished third.
Happy overall. We managed to do a really good job with everything. Happy also because I did the same lap time as last year in qualifying without putting the soft tires. So for sure the track in the last part of the day was quite fast, but I think we increased the potential of our level bike and performance.
The Red Bull KTM of Brad Binder claimed P4 with Fabio Di Gantiano from Pertamina Enduro VR46 Racing Team 5th, while 8-time world champion Marc Marquez, new to Gresini Racing following his move from Repsol Honda, recorded 58 laps in his P16 placing. The second and final day of testing continues today before the 21 race season begins on 10th March.
TNB Liga Hoki Malaysia 2024. Rabu 21 Februari, TNB Thunderbolts bertemu UiTM HAKPT 4 petang dan Maybank bertemu Young Elephants Pahang 6 petang di saluran OK dan saluran sukan RTM. Juga saksikan secara langsung di RTM Klik.
That wraps up World Today this time around. In our top story, European Union warns Israel against any attack on Rafah. Till then, I'm SAHIH from the river to the sea. Palestine will be free. Thank you for watching.